people get offended when they mistake the subject of a joke with the actual target.
Yeah.
And they're not necessarily the same thing. You can make jokes about any subject. It depends what the joke is.
Yeah.
There's no rules. You can't joke about this. You can.
You should be able to.
You just can.
Yeah.
Okay? And there's nothing sacred.
Well, that's
really.
the point. There's nothing sacred.
In a society where one misstep can lead to immediate cancellation, Ricky Gervais emerges as the unexpected champion we didn't know we were missing. He's like a comedic surgeon, deftly cutting through the absurdity with a sharp wit and the blade of irony. Prepare yourself for an unforgettable experience as Ricky Gervais dismantles woke culture, delivering punchlines that resonate and leaving us all in stitches while cashing in on the laughter.
When you go on the Golden Globes, a lot of time you are politically incorrect and hilarious, of course.
Thank you.
And so,
Thank you.
So this is,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about offence, isn't it? When people say they're offended, it's that just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right, you know? It's... offence is about feelings, and feelings are personal. Some people are offended by equality. So what? You know, so you can't second-guess people. If you try and please everyone, you'll please no one. With comedy as well, I think you've got to deal with taboos and contentious issues, and sometimes you deal in irony, and some people don't get that, but... You know, you can't legislate against stupidity, otherwise you'll be doing nothing. So if you're saying anything...
Let's start with a reality check from Ricky. Just because you're offended doesn't mean you get to end the conversation. Being offended is like Aunt Carol's tuna casserole. Some people love it, some hate it, and some are downright allergic. But Ricky's got it right. If we censor everything that might rub someone the wrong way, we'll end up with nothing but endless cat videos, and even those can stir the pot. Instead of tiptoeing, he vaults over the line with a grin and zero apologies. The man's got a point. If you're going to crack a joke, make it hit. Woke culture might want comedians to tread carefully, but Ricky's here to remind us that comedy is about breaking boundaries, not tiptoeing around like you're sneaking out of an awkward date.
I stand up, I say, wasn't him anymore.
He's taken aim at woke comedy. And let's just say Ricky's tried it so you don't have to. It's like going to a buffet only to realize everything's gluten-free and as bland as cardboard. Comedy needs an edge, a punchline that makes you think, did he really just say that? Woke comedy, on the other hand, is like a joke that apologizes before it even gets to the punchline. No wonder Ricky would rather watch Louis C.K., at least he's still willing to push boundaries. Ricky dives right into the deep end of the gender debate. And let's just say he's not using floaties. The man's got a talent for pointing out the absurdities that woke culture tries to pass off as normal. It's like watching someone try to fit a square peg in a round hole. It just doesn't work, and no amount of shouting, bigot, will change that. Ricky's humor is unapologetically brutal. But hey, sometimes the truth stings. And that's what makes it hilarious.
Let's have a look at Ricky Gervais.
Hi guys, Ricky G here, wellness and beauty influencer. As a celebrity, I know all about stuff, like science and politics. So trust me when I tell you who you should vote for. If you don't vote the right way, that's like a hate crime. It makes me sad and angry, and I'll leave the country. And you don't want that.
Ricky's take on influences is like a refreshing breeze. If that breeze were loaded with sarcasm and a hefty dose of reality, the notion that someone peddling detox teas and gummy vitamins on Instagram should be our moral authority, it's just as ridiculous as it sounds. Ricky shines a spotlight on the absurdity of a world where the person with the most followers gets to dictate how we should live. And when these influences threaten to leave the country, well, as Ricky would say, don't let the door hit you on the way out.
As it was, I didn't have to worry about offending anyone because it just happens, so... And the big controversy last time I did it was a Caitlyn Jenner joke, right? Oh, outrage on Twitter the next day. And by outrage, I mean a couple of people going, it was transphobic. It wasn't transphobic in the slightest. It was a joke about a trans person, but the joke had nothing to do with that aspect of her existence. And that's the other thing about offence. People get offended when they mistake the subject of a joke with the actual target, and they're not necessarily the same. I'll tell you the joke. You make your own minds up, right? So... It's live, so they go, and now your host for the 68th Annual Golden Globe Awards, please welcome Ricky Gervais. They go, and they're all clapping, all the actors are looking up, smiling at me nervously. It's brilliant, right? So I just go, relax, I'm going to be nice tonight. I've changed. Not as much as Bruce Jenner, obviously. And I go, now Caitlyn Jenner, of course, and what a year she's had. Became a role model for trans people everywhere, bravely breaking down barriers and destroying stereotypes. She didn't do a lot for women drivers. So, that's a clever joke, and I'll tell you why, right? It's layered. No, listen, right? The subject of that joke is stereotypes. I'm playing with the notion of stereotypes, right? So I start off saying, she's a real woman. Some would say a liberal, progressive attitude. Then I go, oh, if she's a real woman, I hit them with the old-fashioned reactionary stereotype. She must be a bad driver then, right? And the target of the joke is a celebrity killing someone in their car. Let's not forget that, shall we? A celebrity killing someone in their car, running home and popping on a dress. That's the target of the joke, just so we're clear, okay? She was interviewed about a week later at some press conference for a show she was launching, now cancelled. And the press were around and one of them said, what do you think of the Ricky Gervais joke? And she went, maybe I should host the Golden Globes, right? And they tweeted that, and they atted me in, because they want a celebrity feud, you know? It was clickbait, so I rose to the bait, obviously. I just sent back, let her host, just don't let her drive. Another website that was in the room, Entertainment Weekly, they tweeted a different headline, and they atted me in as well. And their headline was, Caitlyn finally breaks silence over Ricky Gervais. I just sent back, at last. She always breaks too late. Bring it on. Bring it on. But I'm a considered comedian. I like my jokes to be accurate and my targets to be fair. So I was engaging these people. I was saying, why is it transphobic? And they were saying, it's about a trans person. I said, well, that's ridiculous. That's like saying a joke about Bill Cosby is automatically racist. It depends on the joke. But I was talking to them, I'm willing to learn, and I found out my crime was that I dead-named her. Now, I'd never heard that term, you know, before a day after the Golden Globes, and that was saying her old name, and even acknowledging that she used to be a man. But she did. I saw him on the Olympic Games. It was decathlete. It was in everything. He was all over the place. Shot put and pole vault. He won a medal. He was famous. He was on telly all the time. But, you know, a big, famous man with a huge... I don't know, but I mean, I'm guessing he probably... He's a big... But I've learned my lesson. Now, I'd never dead name her now. Now I know it's wrong. I'd never dead name her now. But, like, years ago... when, you know, she was a man.
This is classic Ricky, taking a controversy and flipping it on its head. The Caitlyn Jenner joke. It was never about gender. It was about the ridiculous mechanics of celebrity culture. In today's world, if you're famous enough, you can do almost anything and still get a hero's applause. Ricky's not buying it, and he's making sure we don't either. He's cutting through the noise to remind us that actions have consequences, no matter who you are or what you identify as. And then there's Apple. Nothing says woke quite like a company preaching about dignity while paying workers next to nothing to assemble your iPhone. Ricky's calling him out, and we're here for it. It's like watching a magician reveal the secrets behind the trick: smoke, mirrors, and Ricky's the one pulling back the curtain. Woke culture loves to point fingers. But Ricky's here to remind us that sometimes those fingers are far from clean. He's got this knack for turning woke culture's obsessions into punchlines that hit like a brick wall. Sure, diversity is important, but when you start applying it to things like death, you've officially gone off the deep end. Ricky's humor here is like a cold splash of water, refreshing, a little shocking, and exactly what we need. He's showing us that not everything needs to be a diversity checklist, and sometimes a joke is just that. A joke. And honestly, we're eating it up.
Oh, I was salivating. Honestly, I got an adrenaline rush thinking of, you know, what I could say and whether I'd have to go to jail. And you know, I like that opportunity because I do like that, you know, when there's a tension, when there's an elephant in the room. Although he wasn't there this year. I do like that because I do like confronting that because I think it takes the audience to a place it hasn't been before. Mm-hmm. And it can be a mutual backslapping you know, fest, fine. But don't televise it, you know, because I'm not doing it for the 200 egos in the room. I'm doing it for the 200 million people watching around who aren't winning awards, who aren't millionaires.
Ricky doesn't just poke the bear, he strides right up, slaps it across the face, and waits for the fallout. And let's be real, we love him for it. He's not out to win over Hollywood's elite. He's talking to the rest of us who are tired of being told what to think, what to say, and even how to laugh. Ricky's willing to take risks because he knows that a truth, even when wrapped in a joke, is still the truth. And if it makes a few people squirm, all the better.
Even better.
You call me Bobo, so I'm going to have species realignment. I'm halfway there, to be honest. I'm sort of short with short legs and long arms. I sort of stoop like that. My back's getting hairier by the day. I've got fangs. I love nuts. Oh, I love nuts. And once I was at the zoo and I could tell people were looking at me, so I just started masturbating. So I am a chimp, right? I am a chimp, if I say I'm a chimp. And so I've got to live as a chimp for a year, then have hormones, get me all nice and hairy. That'd be lovely, right? I'm going to stay a male chimp, so I can keep all that, right? A male heterosexual chimp, keep the same girlfriend. Jane will be happy, she loves me, she loves chimps, so, you know. And I reckon that's got to be easier for a man to turn into a chimp. We're so close. Than for a man to turn into a woman in many ways. You know what I mean? A bit of hair and a top lip like that, as opposed to your cock and balls ripped off and a hole gouged out into... No, I'm not a doctor, but that is the gist of it. I know which one I'd rather have done. And I'm not saying I think chimps are better than women. No way. Right? Any ladies here, right? I can't see you, but to me, every single one of you is equal to a chimp. So...
And then Ricky takes identity politics to its most absurd extreme, species realignment. It's outrageous, it's ridiculous, and that's exactly the point. Ricky's humor is like a funhouse mirror, reflecting the absurdity of woke culture right back at us. If you can identify as anything, then why not a chimp? The man's got a point. Sometimes the only way to cope with the bizarre is to laugh at it. And Ricky makes sure we're laughing hard. In a world where free speech feels like it's always on the chopping block, Ricky Gervais has become the champion we didn't realize we needed. He's not just here to make us laugh, he's here to make us think. And if this video offended you, well, that's kind of the idea. Thanks for watching, and remember, the truth might not always be comfortable, but it sure can be hilarious.